Boo, damn it. Did I scare you? Started 7 seconds early that time. I got them about 9 seconds in last time. They didn't expect it.
Oh, okay.
I heard a few
Starting early.
That's right. Today on the Outlaw of College Football, we got a old school guest up in here, Jonathan Lewis, who started all this mess. I can thank him for the spawning of this evil that is me. And today we're going to talk about Kalen DeBoer. Is he actually possibly going to be even better than Nick Saban? College football world definitely doesn't want to hear that shit.
No.
Jonathan posed a pretty interesting question because, technically looking at Kalen DeBoer's record, his first 116 games that he's coached, he's 104-12, and Nick Saban in his first 90 games had lost triple that. He was like 86-32 his first 90 games.
Yep.
So is it possible that, Alabama is not going to miss a beat? I know in the past when we've hired new coaches, it was because of controversy. There was no controversy in this. Nick Saban left this place in a good place. It wasn't like Bobby Bowden or Joe Paterno. So you posed the question, so I'm going to let you give your thoughts on that.
Well, first I'm going to respond to the obvious comment on the screen here. Mid-poo. So, yeah, JPC actually told me about that earlier, about had me run off the road from crying from laughing. That's actually really good at referring back to Missouri. Now, what's interesting, though, is I did not know there was any type of beef between Oklahoma and Missouri. Has this always been something that's been there, or is it like because they're coming back in, or they're coming back in the same conference?
Well, it's that, and they took some shot at the tornado victims last week. And
it was because of okay.
But they've been talking shit about Oklahoma since they got that recruit. It was in Missouri that they gave them a special in-state bonus to stay in-state, and it sort of filtered on from there. And they emasculated them when they were in the Big 12. They were like 67-24 against Missouri. So
67. Okay, yeah. Okay.
That's probably why Missouri don't want them in there. But yeah. Oklahoma people come up with some good nicknames, man. They even come up with a good acronym with, Tebow.
Tebow is one of my favorites.
TBOW, the bitch out west with Lincoln Riley.
Tebow, you know what's funny is I think I told you this. The first probably 10 videos I saw you guys saying Tebow, I had no idea what you're even talking about.
Well, even some of the Oklahoma fans don't know the acronym. They'll spell out Tebow like T-E-B-O-W, like Tim Tebow.
Yeah, that's what that's what always came to my mind. I'm like, why the hell does he keep mentioning him, Tim Tebow? And then I got on one day just in time where it was explaining it, and I was like, wow, I'm an idiot.
So I have to tell even Oklahoma fans because they don't know. They spell it wrong. I'm like, no, it's T-B-O-W. Let's not insult Tim Tebow. Now, while he did put the hurt on my team, Alabama, a few times he was here, but we did get his ass in the end. But I still like him. Even though he played for Florida, I always have liked Tim Tebow. So let's not insult Tim Tebow like that.
Yeah, he could have came to Alabama. But either way, okay, let me get back to your actual question first. The actual question, of course, oh my God, Kalen DeBoer. So I had to ask this question because, JPC, I'm going to revert this back to you with a question. Did you think Nick Saban would beat out Bear Bryant when he landed in Tuscaloosa?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so for people to think this is going to be a crazy idea that Kalen DeBoer cannot surpass Nick Saban is wild on their own. I believe, and I know a lot of people are going to bring this argument of, well, he played against lower competition. Kalen DeBoer has a way better record than Nick Saban. I'm not saying it's better or worse. All I'm saying is winning anywhere as a head coach is not easy. We're talking high school, or pee-wee, all the way up to whatever, right, to NFL level. I don't think one is superior to the other. Now, money-wise, of course, when you're talking about winning, winning is winning. You're just the best at what you do in that system, that program, whatever it may be. Now, I think, and I posed the question to JBC, there is a possibility. There we go. Big Honus Kelly. Nick Saban was 76-39-1 in his first 116 games. And what was Kalen DeBoer's record?
104-12.
There we go. I knew it. I just wanted you to repeat it. 104-12 with multiple national championships. So, granted, it's not at the D1 level. I know that argument's going to be made. But to think this guy can't come to Alabama and construct a team or put together a staff that can win national championships at Nick Saban's rate, would be crazy because the thought if you would have said Nick Saban would have won 3 and 4 and everything else at Alabama when he did would have been a crazy statement on its own already. So my question is, if I'm going to make the argument, why not? It's got to be reverted back the same way, right? So like, what's going to prevent Kalen DeBoer from winning at the rate Nick Saban did win at? Because he's taken over a tier 1 program. He's taken over just like Kirby Smart did at Georgia, in my opinion. Mark Richt, yes, he didn't win a national championship, but he had 10-win seasons every year. He had them in the SEC championship almost every other year.
Well, Georgia won an SEC title before Nick Saban came back. I argue that if Nick Saban never comes to Alabama, that I guarantee you that Georgia wins 2 or 3 national titles under Mark Richt.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so this is a hard pill for a lot of people to swallow. Kalen DeBoer could win a national championship at Alabama within his first 2 seasons, I believe. You look at Jalen Murrow in this offense, what they're going to look like under Kalen DeBoer. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Jalen Murrow is Michael Penix and all this other crap, whatever it may be. I'm not trying to make a comp, but it is his style of quarterback, right? It is his style of offense. The offense is damn near set up to what he already ran at Washington. We already know that part. The big question is going to be the defense, right? Matt Womack, all these guys coming in, the unknowns from what you would consider lower level, right? So not knowing what that's going to look like. Obviously, with experience, they're going to get better and better and better. But I'm waiting on, like, the big question, because I've posed this to multiple people. Like, what would prevent Kalen DeBoer from winning at the rate Nick Saban did at Alabama right now with everything being the way it is? Because right now, if you look at the recruiting, has the recruiting slowed down?
No.
And you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's going to take a minor hit. You're going to have 1 or 2 maybe pulling the shots. But when he starts winning at Alabama, I have a feeling that's going to pick right back up where it left off.
Well, when he took over Washington, he was in a lot worse shape.
Oh, yeah.
He took over a program that was 4-8 the previous year and took them to a nice bowl the first year, beat Texas in the Alamo Bowl.
Yep.
Then he went to the playoffs this past year and beat Texas again. So the Oklahoma people out there might like Kalen DeBoer since he's undefeated against the Longhorns, man. So, yeah.
And I love the question Big Cojones put up, or not question, but he put this is a different era of college football. Put that one up. I can't click to put anything up. That is a great point, and I love it. This is why I love it so much as an Alabama fan. Why? Because Kalen DeBoer, if you look at what he did with Washington, with the staff he brought in, they're more in tune to win with the current system put in place with the NIL and everything else. He's more in tune with that than Nick Saban ever was. That is what should scare a lot of people right now. Brian Kelly's having to adjust to that, right? He was all against it at Notre Dame. He came into LSU. It's only a matter of time before, you know what I mean, he builds a staff around him that will adapt to it where he doesn't have to worry about it, right? You bring people in to do something you just don't like doing. Kalen DeBoer already loved it. He already adopted the system. He already brought it with him. So that's what I think the scary part could be for everybody in the SEC is Kalen DeBoer is going to adopt that system. That's why he had these players come back to Alabama that left. He went out and grabbed the players that transferred away, except obviously a couple of them, and brought them back.
The only thing that could keep him from having success here at Alabama would probably be Alabama. If our old guard alumni and boosters come back in here like they were before Nick Saban and start screwing around and DeBoer doesn't seem like he's he don't seem like the dominant guy, dominant personality that Saban was. That's the only thing that might be the only hindrance for him is to get used to this kind of culture down here where I don't know if you saw the pictures of the Washington spring game last year compared to the Alabama spring game.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
That's just one red flag right there that this is a lot different. And if he can deal with the big, huge difference in the culture and how people are so over the top about college football here, then he'll be fine. But if these old guards getting here, like I was talking to you off air about that guy called the Godfather, he was talking about, man, this is going to be a disaster. I'm like, what are you talking about, dude? He's 104-12, man. You'll see. There's people who's not buying tickets already because the guy's from the West Coast. Like that geographically constipated, stupid shit right there is the reason why we got in the lurch that we got in with DeBozo and
Mike Shula
and people like that because
Yeah.
y'all too stuck in your ways. Y'all want some of y'all can puppeteer. How's that worked out for Auburn? Puppeteering people. Not very good.
Cost them a lot of money. A lot of money. And look, Nick Saban's not from Alabama. He's from West Virginia, right? He coached up north, Toledo, Michigan State, right? Yes, he was at LSU to Miami. But it all comes down to, are you a winner? Do you bring a winning system with you? Right? Washington went to the national championship with 3 stars. You look at that roster, look at how many people he just put in the NFL, because that's still his team, right? So that just got drafted. Like, it's amazing what that dude did with 3 and 4 stars, especially when you look at Michael Penix. Michael Penix was already, in my opinion, a really good quarterback for in Washington. But the system he put him in and the position he put him in, granted, Grubbs had a lot to do with that. Great offensive coordinator. But, like, it's still the man running the show has to be the one plugging everything in, right? So, and we're talking good and bad.